When Brunton was in a quiet village near London, Bhagavan appeared to him in a vision and asked him to write his second book, The Secret Path. Then, by the grace of Bhagavan, a cascade of writing followed, resulting in 9 books. Of these, the quest for the overself is of paramount interest because he has shared all that he experienced in the presence of Bhagavan as guidance to seekers and how it can be put into practice. In the year 1938 or 39, there was some misunderstanding between Paul Brunton and the Ramanasramam management, because of which he couldn't take down notes in Bhagavan's hall. He was so angered by this that he could not even live anywhere near the ashram. He left. Supported by the king of Mysore, he stayed up to 1947 in India, but he never stopped being in contact with Bhagavan. His devotion and surrender to Bhagavan was complete, and he was in constant connection with Bhagavan through ecstatic letters. In one of his letters, he wrote, "Bhagavan is I am, all the time meeting in the inner space of my heart, where Ramana Maharshi always resides." Bhagavan was also very affectionate towards Paul Brunton. One day in the hall, Bhagavan openly said, "Paul Brunton's thoughts come to my mind. I am sure Paul Brunton is also thinking of Bhagavan." At that very moment, halfway across the world, Paul Brunton was paying his obeisance to Bhagavan before giving a talk. Another time in the hall, Bhagavan received a pamphlet by post in which there was a quotation from Paul Brunton. He read it out, saying, "Paul Brunton writes, I remain perfectly calm and fully aware of who I am and what is occurring. The self still exists, but it is a changed, radiant self, something that is far superior to my unimportant personality, rises into consciousness and becomes me. I am in the midst of an ocean of blazing light. I sit in the lap of holy bliss. Divine grace descends and acts only when it is invoked by total surrender. It acts from within because God resides in the heart of all beings. Its whispers can be heard only in a mind purified by self-surrender and prayer. Rationalists laugh at it, and atheists scorn it, but it exists. It is a descent of God into the soul's zone of awareness. It is visitation of a force unexpected and unpredictable. It is a voice spoken out of cosmic silence. It is cosmic will which can perform authentic miracles under its own law." That particular incident has been mentioned in Day by Day with Bhagavan. In 1952, after the Maharshi dropped the body, Paul Brunton came to Ramanasramam. And it was beautiful because he did not feel any difference. When he was there earlier in the physical presence of the Maharshi, it was the Master's spiritual presence that he was soaked in. He later wrote, "The death of the Master's body had not ended our relationship or barred our communication. He still existed in my heart as a veritable force, bereft of flesh, but clearly present." He adored the Maharshi as a pure channel for the higher power. When he was requested to give a message for young seekers, he said, "Pursue the inquiry, who am I, relentlessly. Analyze the entire personality. Strive to find out from where the I thought arises. Continue your constant meditation. Keep turning your attention within. One day the wheel of thoughts will slow down and intuition will mysteriously arise. Follow the intuition and let your thinking stop. and it will eventually lead you to the goal of unwavering and perpetual self-awareness. After his illumination in 1963, Brunton became a gentle, irresistible powerhouse of peace. The radiant beauty of his inner light attracted many seekers. His never-say-die spirit can be seen through his years of search for a genuine spiritual experience. Though he got this for the first time in the presence of the Maharshi on their very first meeting, it remained latent within him for many years. He had to go through the rough and tumble of the spiritual path before he could make it his own. In all his encounters with fresh seekers, he used to emphasize that one has to pursue the quest within by implicitly putting into practice the sacred words of the Master. He wrote, "I had all the human failings. I had fallen by the wayside several times, but it is also true that I picked up myself each time and at last achieved the goal." In the 1970s, Appa Pant was the Indian ambassador to England. Thanks to the influence of Morris Friedman, he was already a great devotee of Bhagavan. He wanted to express his gratitude to Bhagavan by unveiling his portrait at the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London. A big gathering was expected. As part of the celebrations, a souvenir was brought out. From its conception, I was consulted. I advised them to invite Paul Brunton to participate in it and give the principal talk. Brunton instead sent an article for the souvenir. It was a glorious adoration of his guru Ramana. Later, I had it printed in the ashram journal, The Mountain Path, where it states, 40 years have passed since I have walked in his abode and saw the Maharshi half reclining, half sitting on a couch. After such a long period, most memories of the past become somewhat faded. If not, they lose their existence altogether. But I can truthfully declare that in this case, nothing of that kind happened. On the contrary, his face, his figure, his surroundings are as vivid now to me as they were then. What is more important to me is that, at least during the period of meditation, the feeling of his radiant presence is as actual, as vivid today as it was on the first day. A remarkable devotee extolling a remarkable master.